market was alive with colors and sounds, the smell of roasted corn blending with spices and fresh bread. Vendors called out to passers-by, children tugged at their mothers' hands, and the chaos somehow felt like music to those who knew its rhythm. But for a little girl named Aisha, just 7 years old, it felt like a maze she couldn't escape. One moment she was holding her mother's hand, staring at the sparkling bangles on a stall, and the next, that hand was gone. She turned quickly, her small eyes darting in every direction but faces blurred together. Tall bodies hurried past, and the voice of her mother was nowhere to be found. Her heart began to beat faster, her lips trembled, and tears welled up. But she tried to be strong. She called out softly at first, "Mama," but her voice was swallowed by the noise of bargaining and laughter. She tried again, louder this time, "Mama." No answer. The more she looked, the more the market grew unfamiliar. Fear wrapped itself around her like a cold wind. People brushed past her without noticing the panic in her little eyes. She hugged her small cloth bag to her chest as though it could protect her, but it was empty, just like the comfort she longed for. Minutes turned into what felt like hours, and the market's brightness dimmed in her mind. Her small feet ached from walking in circles, retracing steps that didn't lead her back to safety. She stopped near a fruit stall and sat on the edge of a wooden crate, wiping her cheeks with the back of her hand. She wondered if her mother had left her behind, if maybe she was too much trouble. She thought of all the times she had asked for, little things her family couldn't afford, and wondered if she had annoyed her mother one time too many. The innocence of her age made her believe it was somehow her fault. As her tears slipped quietly, a voice interrupted her thoughts. "Why are you sitting here alone, little one?" She looked up and saw an elderly man with kind eyes. His clothes were simple, worn at the edges, and his hands bore the marks of years of labor. He crouched to her level, not too close to scare her, but close enough that she could see the sincerity in his face. "Did you lose someone?" he asked softly. She nodded, unable to form words. The lump in her throat made it impossible. He waited patiently, giving her the space she needed, until finally she whispered, "Mama." His eyes softened even more. "I see. Markets can be very big and scary when we are small, but don't worry, we will find her." He offered his hand, rough but gentle, like a branch strong enough to hold weight, yet tender enough not to break. What rested on it? She hesitated, looking at the hand, then back at his face. Something in his expression made her trust him, though trust wasn't easy when fear had already shaken her world. Slowly, she placed her tiny hand in his. They began to walk together, weaving through the crowded lanes. He asked her questions, her mother's name, what she was wearing, but Aisha could only remember her scarf, a faded blue one her mother always wore when they went out. The man nodded, scanning the crowd with sharp yet hopeful eyes. Every few steps he reassured her, "We'll find her. Don't be afraid." But inside, Aisha's doubts lingered. She wondered why a stranger cared more about her than the hundreds of faces passing by. She wondered if he really meant his words or if he too would leave her once the search became too hard. Yet every time he noticed her trembling, he tightened his hand around hers just enough to remind her she wasn't alone. After what felt like endless searching, they stopped near a tea stall. The man asked the vendor if anyone had seen a woman looking for her daughter, but no one had. Aisha's lips quivered again, her tears threatening to spill. "What if she doesn't want me anymore?" she blurted out. Her small voice cracked, and the raw pain behind her words pierced through the noise of the market. The man bent down again, his weathered face serious now. "Listen to me, child. A mother never stops wanting her child. Sometimes we lose each other. Sometimes we get scared, but love does not let go. Your mother is looking for you just as hard as you are looking for her." His words weren't just comfort. They carried the weight of someone who had lived long enough to know the truth of loss and reunion. They continued walking, and as time passed, the crowd began to thin. The evening sun painted the stalls with golden light and the air grew cooler. Aisha grew weary, her steps slower, but the man lifted her gently into his arms without asking. She clung to his neck, resting her head against his shoulder, too tired to fight the sleep that tugged at her eyes. He carried her as though she was his own grandchild, his pace steady, his resolve unbroken. Finally, near the end of the marketplace, they saw a woman crying uncontrollably, calling out a name that echoed in the fading chaos. Aisha! Aisha! The girl stirred at the sound, lifting her head. Her eyes lit up, and before the man could lower her, she wriggled free from his arms and ran. "Mama!" she cried, her voice filled with relief and longing. Her mother turned, eyes wide, and rushed forward, scooping Aisha into her arms. Their embrace was desperate, unshakable, as though letting go would mean losing everything again. The mother sobbed into her daughter's hair, whispering apologies and prayers of thanks. Aisha held her tightly, whispering, "I thought you didn't want me." Her mother pulled back just enough to look into her daughter's eyes, her own streaming with tears. "Never, my child. Never. You are my heart." The elderly man stood a few steps away, watching quietly. His chest swelled with relief, though he hid it behind a small smile. He turned to leave, not wanting to intrude on the sacred reunion, but Aisha's mother noticed him. "Wait," she called, her voice shaking. She approached him with Aisha, still in her arms. "You found her? You stayed with her?" He nodded humbly, bowing his head slightly. "She was afraid I couldn't leave her alone." The woman's gratitude overflowed in her tears. "How can I ever thank you?" she asked. The man shook his head. "There is no need. Once, when I was younger, I too was lost. Someone found me, gave me another chance. Today was simply my turn." Aisha reached out her small hand toward him, and he took it gently, smiling down at her. "Be brave, little one. The world is big, but you are never as alone as you think." With that, he let go and stepped back into the crowd, disappearing as quietly as he had appeared. That night, as Aisha lay in her bed safe and warm, she thought of the stranger who had stayed when no one else did. She realized that sometimes family isn't just the people we are born to. It can also be the kindness of someone who chooses not to walk away. And in that lesson, a seed of hope was planted in her heart, one she would carry for the rest of her life. Her mother, too, remembered his words, holding them close as a reminder that kindness has the power to change despair into hope. And though they never saw the man again, his presence remained with them like an unseen guardian, reminding them both that sometimes a stranger can give you not just safety, but a second chance at trust, at love, at life itself.